Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. I am LaWanna Bradford with the Bradford Group and the Bradford Group Consulting, and we are going to get started in 1 minute. Well, here we are back, and I am so excited because, as you know, we're still celebrating Women's History Month, and also we are celebrating the theme of hashtag Break the Bias, and we have some amazing women here with us today. First of all, I have to give a salute to my partner and friend, Miss Barbara Beckley. How's it going, Barbara?
Hey, going good.
Well, we have two of our Celebrate You Woman of the Year nominees here with us, and we'll have a few more joining us. And so I first want to salute and say hello to Miss Mary Ellen Ciganovich. How's it going, Mary Ellen?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much, LaWanna and Barbara. Thank you so much for this wonderful group you've created. You've put so many fantastic women together to help our world become better. It's just fantastic.
Well, we're so glad that you're part of this platform, and we're going to get back to some of the things that you do to just help enrich the very fiber of Celebrate You. I want to say a salute and welcome to Pastor Dr. Derashay Zorn. How's it going, Derashay?
It is going absolutely wonderful. Hello, ladies. I want to thank you guys for all that you are doing, and just also celebrate you guys for definitely doing a great work that you do and celebrate you and in your own personal endeavors, and just being a great contribution to society. So thank you guys so much for this platform and just allow me to be a part of it.
Thank you. And we have none other than the amazing Miss Debra Morrison, the woman who helps us navigate our finances.
Hi, LaWanna and gang. This is an esteemed group, and I am honored to be a part. And I do love to help women navigate finances because there are some financial potholes out there. Have you noticed? And
Yes.
You don't even have to live in the Northeast, but you want to keep your financial car's tires out of those, at least the deep ones. And that's done with some advanced planning. It doesn't take a lot. It does take some intentionality. And I am all over us becoming intentionally wealthy women.
Yes. You know, Barbara and I are just so blessed and honored to not only be celebrating you, the three of you and others, a total of 12 as Women of the Month, and now as nominees for Woman of the Year for 2021. But we're just so privileged that you are part of the community. It really does take a village. And if we thought that we could do this on our own, we would have missed an amazing blessing in the genius and the divine gifting that each of you walk into. And Barbara and I, we talk about it all the time. I think that's what we love about each woman who's been recognized as Woman of the Month is you guys are clear. You're crystal clear of where you're going. You're in your lane, unapologetically so, and you're bold in your messaging. And I want to just pause right now with Mary Ellen, who comes every day giving us truths, right? And one of the things that Women's History Month is focused on, one of the international theme is hashtag Break the Bias. And I see all of you independently doing that in your own unique way. And Mary Ellen, I want to just toss it to you to tell us, why is it so important for you to get these nuggets of truth out there to the world?
Well, our society uses the word truth incorrectly, as I see it. When somebody usually gives a truth, it's usually an opinion or a fact about themselves or whatever. A truth, God's truth is like, I am God. I am the Lord thy God. A truth is what you focus on expands, what you think about happens. That is a basic truth. Your thoughts, if you want to change your life, change your thoughts. That's a truth. You're never upset for the reason you think. That is a truth. There are about 12, maybe 13 basic truths from God, from the universe, that you can graft there over and over and over again in the Bible and in all the scriptures, that people need to be aware of, to wake up to, so that they can love themselves. And I don't mean love yourself selfishly. I mean love yourself by stop criticizing yourself. Stop scaring yourself about the future or worrying about something you did in the past. Be kind to your mind and wake up every day with positivity and enthusiasm and being grateful and appreciating life and taking care of your body and doing what God put us here to have fun. He doesn't put us here to worry. And we all go around with all this worry and negativity. And I'm here to bring light and positivity and just joy. And the group I have here in outside Chattanooga, Tennessee, is called Real Health. And real stands for really enthusiastic about life. Because when you're really enthusiastic about life, how can you worry? How can you be stressed? How can you not have fun? And just live your life every single day being real, living in truth.
I love that. And what you said is one of the tenets of Celebrate You is to love yourself, to really truly love yourself despite the journey we've been through, right? Even though we are impressed upon by our journey doesn't define us. And I want to toss it to you, Dr. Derashay, and then I want to pass the ball to Deborah Morrison to share your take on that, on not allowing life to define you.
Life comes with many challenges, curveballs, and so many other things. But one thing that I love about not allowing life to define us is this very thought that I just really, really live by, is that, listen, that right there in the midst of situations and circumstances, right there in the midst of the disaster, that God is developing, right? The person in whom it is that you are to become. And it's through our situations and circumstances that we are not to, look at them and be defined by those things, but be developed, right? Be developed and allow them to cultivate us into our authentic selves, right? So that we can get closer in knowing who we are, why we're here, right? So that we can do the great things that, that the Lord has called us to do. One of the things that I remember in prayer, and, I was talking to God, and, and I just have like real candid conversations with him. And I was just like, why I gotta be in this family, and why this happened, and why. And I just had all the why questions. Right, because I just wasn't understanding like why my life path had to be the way it was. But what he said to me was just so profound, and it changed the whole trajectory, right, of my whole thinking process. And he said that I conditioned conditioning. And what he was just saying was, out of the situation is heart to serve. Those who are called you to serve, had you not went through the certain conditions that you have been through. And so, yes, life situations, circumstances, society labels should never be a point of reference of identifying who we are, right? Our point of reference of identifying who we are should always be Christ-centered or God-centered, right? Because it's through his establishment, right? His word that establish who you are, that establish your identity, and give you the authority, right, to do everything that he has called for you to do, in spite of the circumstances, in spite of the obstacles, right, those type of things. So yeah, don't allow life situations to define you. Allow them to develop you and see the beautiful and amazing thing that will emerge. You muted. You muted, LaWanna.
I'm muted. Okay, watch how this is divinely set up to our listening audience. So we had Mary Ellen tell us about loving and embracing ourselves. We had Dr. Derashay talk about not allowing life to define us, right, and rising above that. And now I'm going to pitch the ball to Debra Morrison, who's going to talk about how women sometimes allow life to define us so much that we start to spiral in this quagmire of wondering, how do I get out of this financial muck, right?
It is an all too prevalent issue, and yet not for our audience, because we have taken steps and we will take more steps. And just as you were talking, I thought, why don't I just write a visual here? And I am so passionate about us understanding consciously, I get it subconsciously, but consciously, that life is filled with expected moments and then unexpected moments. And it's often the unexpected that are highly emotional: a death, a disability, an accident. And I know one thing, that when intellect is high, emotions are low, and vice versa. And so it's wise for us not to experience and attempt to process both of them at once, because it just muddles both processes. So I love this analogy. These are the same, how many letters? 2, 4, 6, 7 letters, the same 7 letters. Creator or reactor. And I, just because in the case that you wanted to have the little lines there, I drew the lines. Sure enough, the same letters, creator and reactor. And the only thing I didn't do is write a little stick figure beside it. And the reactor is just sitting there, standing there with their head hung low because they're a victim. And the creator is standing erect, ready and looking forward, not certain. We're not talking about perfectionism or certainty. We're talking about courage. We're talking about planning for the expected and even the unexpected. And you might say, well, how do you do that? Well, you can do that. Tune in. And then being poised with that know-how and can do, celebrate you mantra, which we all espouse. And that is, celebrate us. From our centered core, we give plentifully, a multiple to the world. And so it's incumbent upon us to put gas in our own car. And then we can drive out and influence other people in multitudes. You do not know the effect of your actions, who's watching. And there are a lot of us watching and listening, if not actually and physically in the present on a screen, energetically. And so it's incumbent upon us to not fall prey to having things define us and being flat-footed or caught on our heels, as some might say, in a reactionary position, but rather to be creators of our own financial futures, which of course is wider than finances, and those women and men whose lives we touch. And Celebrate You is a fantastic compendium of women of all magnitude of specialties. And the blending of that helps remind each of us to celebrate ourselves, embrace ourselves, and take that love forward to whomever we are in touch with. And that's a lot of people. So have at that. We can do it, women. Yes, we can.
I love that. And it's a perfect segue to welcome our Celebrate You 2020 Woman of the Year, Miss Wendy Watkins.
Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Congratulations, ladies. Oh, so exciting to be with you today. Yeah.
Well,
Well, Wendy, one of the
congratulations.
things you talk about is living a delicious life,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So we heard about recognizing who you are, not allowing life to define you, being able to take control, to be a creator, right? And then you're saying, but life can truly be delicious. What I'd like you to just speak to these three women and just share a little bit about your journey over the last 12 months being Woman of the Year and how it has shaped you and helped you to elevate to, heights that you didn't even envision for yourself 12 months ago.
Yes. Yes. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, where do I begin with these two, LaWanna and Barbara? The magic that they make in the back for all of us, right? So thank you, ladies, first of all, for holding the space for us to be able to shine as bright as you see us shining. So thank you for that. And that really right there has been one of the biggest lessons for me, ladies, is learning to, through this year, and when I received the Woman of the Year, which was an amazing experience. I hope one of you get to experience it because it was so much fun. Is that I was not shining my light as bright as I could. And that's just something that I have danced with for a good long time. And standing on this platform and being held by all of the women around me, all of the people around me, reminding me time and time again what I sometimes forget, has been so beneficial to me, not only, more so as a woman than as a business owner. That is what this experience has been for me. It also has strengthened my conviction around mental health matters and has given me the courage and the clarity to really step into creating, Making Stuff Up with Wendy, my YouTube show, and moving it into a podcast. This platform, there was something about when that all happened last February that gave me a place of permission and I think really the clarity and the courage to step into creating even more deliciousness in my life, right? Because it already was delicious as it was, because I was living like you ladies are living, right? Consciously, in alignment, what brings you most fulfillment, taking care of yourself and keeping a good mindset. So having all of that in place, plus the tenets that these ladies put together, it just made for an amazing year. And the other piece that it made me, I don't know if it made me, but it called to have me more in alignment in living a values-based life this year. Really paying attention to what my values were and making decisions based on that. And that was a gift from looking at myself as a Celebrate You woman. So thank you. Yeah.
I want to turn it over to Barbara because one of the things that we introduced in the Celebrate You award show, Woman of the Year last year, was the term queen and expressing what queen meant and why we honor each one of you as queens. Barbara, for individuals that are watching that may not understand what that term means, you want to explain that?
I always call the lady queens because I look at them as royalty within themselves. And us as women, we have, as we all know, as women on this panel, that we go through our stories in life. We go through our trials and tribulations, which I know we all do, men do too. But as women, I always see that we just take it and we just move forward, but then we never take ourselves and say, let's celebrate us. Because we're always either helping somebody, we're doing something in our business, doing something personal, we're just doing. And we never sit back and say, we got a crown. But we don't realize what crown we have on our head. So that's why every time I see a lady and see a woman, I always say, Queen, Derashay, Queen Debra. I say that because I want to keep reminding you of how much royalty you really are, because I don't want you to never forget that you stand in that every day.
Thank you.
And,
I don't know
and
if my husband loved me having that queen mentality this year.
yeah, because most people don't, within the African American community, that is how we greet one another. It is a true sense of honor.
Yes.
And so we wanted to just share that little piece of our culture with women around the world and say, this is how we're honoring you. You are truly a queen. You have value. And we see that and we honor it and we applaud it and celebrate it.
Yes. And just to add to that, it just real quickly, I just love what I notice when I say it to the ladies. It puts, you can tell their whole demeanor changes, and they're kind of, first of all, sometimes they're surprised, and then sometimes they're like, wow, she called me queen. And I said, that's what I want to see. That's what because it's there. And it's just to see people glow, see women glow when they see that, wow, I'm really a queen. Yep, you are.
One of the things I want to do, because I know this is, even though the show is an hour, we have some of our nominees that have to roll off, and that's fine. But I want to give Mary Ellen you an opportunity to talk about a book that you have numerous books, but this book has changed my life as well as Barbara's, which is called Truth: Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing. And I thank you for just being that vessel that God spoke through and speaking boldly and giving us those little nudges to check ourselves and do the inner size that we need in order to continue to elevate and rise up. So it's like I've now my Bible and I have truth, and I read them in that order. You're muted.
Oh, I didn't do it. Okay. Well, thank you so much, LaWanna and Barbara, you too, Wendy. It's awesome hearing from you, and Debra and Dr. Zorn. Thank you so much for everything and all of my truths of the day, whether they're in my book, Truth: Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing, or the written truths that I put on social media every day. I don't write them per se. I sit down and I ask God, what do you want society to hear? What should I write? And sometimes it's a struggle, sometimes it just flows. And everything in Truth: Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing came to me. And I didn't want to write them. I mean, I truly didn't want to write them. I heard them and I said, no, pick somebody else. I mean, you look at me. I taught middle school 15 years. I've done things already. I mean, I'm not going to be able to do this. And God looks down at me and he goes, why do you think I put you through everything in your life? And I'm like, okay, you could have told me, because growing up I had a very low self-esteem. I had parents who told me I was an accident and I wasn't wanted, and I had epilepsy, and so you go through all these traumas, so you do feel so unworthy until you grow up and you finally find, hey, no, I'm just as worthy as anyone else. I'm just as much a queen as anyone else. I can do these. So I finally sat down because God, God, and I know Dr. Zorn knows this. When God wants you to do something, he's not going to leave you alone. He bugged me and bugged me and bugged me. And so I said, all right. And so now I've written 3 books, and I have another one set to come out. But since I was sick the whole month of February, I couldn't get to it. So, it's just been such a journey. It's a healing journey for me, because, the truths that I write, I also have to live by myself in order to be an example for other people. And that is the most challenging and the most powerful thing, because these truths are not easy to live by. And God will test you. He'll say, well, let's see if you can do this. And I'm like, I'm trying. Okay. Still a work in progress.
Yeah.
Well, I want to turn it over to, thank you so much for that, Mary Ellen, to Debra Morrison, because Debra, I know that you have another event that you're about to dash off to. So
Do.
tell us about women navigating finances and why it's so important that people surround themselves with experts such as yourself as we navigate through this very uncertain financial time that we're in.
Well, it is especially important in times of extreme uncertainty. We always have volatility in the stock market per se, and yet from a standpoint of worldwide political angst, and so many of us are empaths, and this is a very, very taxing time. And so there's a lot of us that's going out into the universe, into the lives and the hearts of the people of Ukraine and Russia and the neighboring countries. And what I want to impress upon us is, again, this road is too difficult to do in isolation. You can't, people do it, and yet it takes them longer and they don't get the results. So you don't have to be an Olympic athlete or of that caliber to hire the world-class coach, but you should have a coach because you are trained in whatever you are trained in. I'm not trained in nursing and engineering and school teaching and being a mother. I would fail miserably at any of those, but I am trained with 4+ decades of finance. And so it's becoming very apparent to people as they latch on to each other and say, Wendy, I'm tapping you. Barbara, I'm tapping you. I always mispronounce Derashay. I'm tapping you. Mary Ellen, I'm tapping you. And LaWanna, I'm tapping you. And how can we 1 and 1 make 5? Because we can. And we do. And so when I talk about women navigating finances, I talk about the value add of a good coach. Like some of you are watching March Madness. There are coaches on the sideline, on the bench. And there's not a player on that hard court that hasn't bounced that ball a billion times. It's not like they're not good. It's that the best seek the best coaches. And I, for one, have made financial missteps. And I think that qualifies me to be right there, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart with a woman who's made a financial misstep, because we've all made them. And if Warren Buffett can make financial missteps to the tune of billions, that's with a B, who do we think we are that we can foray through the world of finance and particularly investing without making missteps? The question is what we do afterwards. And the Japanese saying, a fall 7 times, get up 8, couldn't be more true. So I have fallen financially and I have gotten back up. I can give you the recipe that worked for me, and you can take whatever is going to work for you. Yet we have no time to waste, women. Time and health are our assets in life. And if you doubt that, you just remember the last time you or someone you loved was hospitalized or died, the entire world stops. It becomes evident very swiftly that that email and that quarterly return on your investments means nothing. So let's put the emphasis on the right syllable. Let's hire the best coaches that we can find. And if I speak your language, I'm happy to extend my prowess. And if I don't, I want you to get someone that does, and get our financial cars headed in the direction of our wealth, our intentional wealth. And we will be able to be better visionaries, better stewards. I'm a Christian of the Christ, if you will. We are going to spread this wealth to everybody. And there are those that need it very desperately. And so why don't we, as United States citizens, for the most part, buck up, stand up right now, because the rest of the women around the world are watching and they need us to be in motion. We can do it.
Debra, I know that you have to leave. I want to say thank you so much for joining us. We're going to just keep rocking and rolling here, and we'll see you April 3rd.
I appreciate that. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, before we get started, I am going to remove this banner, and I have something to play, a little commercial here. We are so excited because as part of Celebrate You Woman of the Year event, we have returning the two-time Emmy Award winning bassist, Mr. Tony Saunders, who's currently on tour right now. And we're just so thrilled that he is going to be delighting us with more of his songs. And he has his newest release called All About Love. And he was so impressed by Celebrate You. I believe you were in the event, Wendy, a little over a year ago, when he changed the name of one of his songs called Crazy, Sexy, Cool to Celebrate You. And so on his album, he gives credit to our community. And in every tour, he always mentions us. Is that amazing? So here's a salute to Mr. Tony Saunders. So look what we have to look forward to. It's going to be amazing. Barbara, I'm going to turn it over this half over to you.
Oh, I just love that music. Yes, it's going to be amazing. Just a little tad of what we're going to see April 3rd. So I'm going to go to Derashay and ask her, explain how you use use your platform. You use your platform, Derashay, how you touch women around the world, because you have an awesome platform that you do as well.
Yes, okay, I had to get unmuted. So yes, listen, the I Am Her International platform is a platform that help encourage, empower, educate, and employ women in their purpose, their passion, their destiny, so that they can proclaim the promises that God has given unto them unapologetically. And so that because they're called to impact and influence nations. And so we're there as a group, right, as a collective to help support, to have platforms available and educational opportunities so that women can do everything, right, have everything that they need, right, to move forward in what it is that God has given unto them. In addition, we celebrate women with the I Am Her International Awards every year. It's an annual award. We just had one a couple of weeks ago where we have over 70 categories that that honor women for their contributions in the world, and we're getting ready to roll out with some other things that we're going to be honoring women throughout the year. We have our top 20 influencers, top 20 influencers, mompreneur influencers, that's going to be coming out in a couple of months. Information going to be coming out for it. And so we're going to be selecting the top 20 to give them that exposure, to, highlight them and the work that they're doing as mompreneurs in the world. And then we'll have quite a few things that will come out after that. It'll be a part of our CEO collection under the I Am Her International platform. So just being that place and space where women can come and connect with one another, collaborate with one another, in addition to be celebrated, right, by each other, as well as we continue in the great work that we have been called to do. So that's just a few of the couple of things that we're doing under the I Am Her International platform. And I just absolutely love it. In addition, listen, LaWanna was the 2021 Trailblazers of the Year, right? She has got that award, last year. Oh, in addition, one last thing, right, the 31 Ways of Influence, right? Cannot not mention that. Our 31 Ways of Influence is another way that we're helping touching women's lives globally through the 31 Ways of Influence. Matter of fact, that particular project actually birthed I Am Her International. And so we have 1 and 2 already out, locked and loaded, and volume 3 will be coming on its way. In addition, we use those as tools to help train and equip women, even as we go and do the I Am Her International Conference in various countries as well. So they're definitely those particular projects are definitely making a difference and making an impact in women's lives, as they're getting the tools that's necessary to be everything that she's been called to be. Back over to you, Ms. Barbara.
I think LaWanna's on mute.
I know, I'm not used to muting myself. All of us are in our unique lanes, right, with our own fingerprint, yet we're all heading in the same direction, right? It's all about elevating, letting people see that possibility can happen, that hope isn't dead, that there is purpose for your life. And all of our messages together are just, they're creating this enormous ripple around the world. And that's what's exciting to me. I mean, Celebrate You, for those of you that don't know, started off with Barbara whispering into my ear. It's like 2 people. And she said, LaWanna, I think we have a movement going. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And now to see that the message that was a God-given message is resonating with people. I mean, this is something that I never would have envisioned myself doing. If you'd asked me this 3 years ago, no way would this have even been on my plate. And same with Barbara, but it's now something that we're compelled to do. And we're so blessed with not only having you all as members of the community, and women who we're honoring for your monthly contribution, lifetime contributions, but I can call you friend. That's pretty powerful, to be in a community where we don't have to be physically with each other to really have a true love and care for each other. I mean, I believe, and I want to pass it to you, Mary Ellen. Do you feel that in our community? Because I feel the love.
You muted.
Yeah, I definitely feel it. I mean, I've felt it since the beginning, and I wanted to join because I just thought Celebrate You, Women Embracing Wellness was such a wonderful title for a group. And I just thought, wow, this has got to be an amazing group. So I joined and I asked for your permission to put my Truths of the Day on. and it just exploded from there. And it's just such a wonderful group of, every woman in there is positive and forceful, and we're learning about each other, and we're learning in different ways, and we're going forward, and we don't hold each other back or judge each other. There's no expectations or motives or judgments, which is so powerful. And it's just such an embracing community of total unconditional love and support. I love it.
You can't read my lips. What about you, Wendy? You've been with us since the beginning.
Oh, once we could figure out this mute thing. Yes, this community, it's nothing but joy and love and support. It's so refreshing, especially, I spend less time on Facebook than I have in the past because of the negativity, and it's not so good for my mental health, but I know where to go when I want the good stuff, and that is definitely Celebrate You. And I agree with you. It's the friendships that I've created, through this platform that are priceless. And they remind me to celebrate myself. And we all need that because we forget, right? We want to celebrate everybody else. So thank you for that, ladies. It's very refreshing. And I couldn't imagine life without it. Was I muted the whole time?
No, I'm who knows what's going to happen April 3rd?
Oh, I know what's going to happen. It's going to be fabulous because when it comes down to things,
I'll get it together, right?
It's going to be fabulous. That's all there is to it, right?
Yeah, put it out there.
Well, speaking of April 3rd, we want you all to save the date for this. Okay, I'm not muted, and I'm turning it back to Barbara.
Boy, that crown looks pretty, doesn't it? It's everybody's head right now. So, we're all, we've been talking about Celebrate through this whole conversation. So I want to kind of go to Mary Ellen and just kind of give us just a little take on, how it feels to be celebrated. You're muted on there.
Of course, it feels wonderful for everybody or anybody to appreciate your work. And celebrating myself, or growing up in life celebrating myself, is not something that I've ever done. I always give the glory to God and our Lord, and I'm always very thankful that I can still do it, and because of different health conditions that I have. And so when I think of celebrating, I don't so much celebrating myself. I want to celebrate the truths that I write so that they can reach more people. See, it's more important for me, instead of celebrating myself, to celebrate the messages that I write so they can get to more people, so they can reach more and more people. Because when I have a client or when I have somebody that I'm working with and I say something to them, like, where there are no problems, there are perceptions and misperceptions. What do you need to learn from this? They just kind of look at me like, I never thought of it like that. And so for me, it's about I feel honored and humbled, and I'm so blessed by being picked Women of the Month for March of last year, and being in this fantastic event with all the nominees. And for me, it's not so much about celebrating myself as celebrating the work that I do so it can reach more people.
That's amazing.
I was talking to someone this morning, and she said almost the same thing you just said, Mary Ellen. It's a person who's never called me before, and she reached out to me on Facebook and said she needed to talk to me. And she talked about the sacred gift. And the sacred gift is our voice. And the responsibility that we are to have in using this instrument to shape and change the world. So I just find it interesting. That was my morning, and then you're echoing the same thing in my evening. And this is a woman who I have never spoken to on the phone before, but she reached out to me on Facebook and said, I just want to talk to you for a moment. Do you have 15 minutes? Pretty powerful.
That is powerful.
It is.
God's trying to tell me something.
Well, God speaks to all of us. I don't know if my microphone's still on or whatever, but
it is.
God talks to me all the time, and I talk to God all the time. I don't have to just be in prayer. Prayer is speaking with God on a different level. Yet all throughout the day, when I was teaching middle school, and usually taught in the inner city, I would drive to school and I would talk to God, and I would say, help me to get an idea, to get this idea over to the kids that they'll like. And by the time I got to school, I always had it. God always gives you what you ask for. And he can't give you something if you don't ask for it. He doesn't know what to give you. And if you say, well, I would like to be successful. Well, when? What year? What month? What do you want to do? There are all these different platforms that you have to fill in for God, because God's going to say, well, you want to be successful. You didn't tell me when. You didn't tell me what you want to do. So and those are some of the activities that I give to my clients to do to help them get a little bit more on track with their goal and their purpose for making the world a little bit better.
I love that. Dr. Derashay, you want to add to that or share your thoughts?
Yes, I do want to share my thoughts, and I absolutely love that. Just being the strategicness, right? The strategicness of just being focused, right? Somebody used the word intentional earlier in the broadcast, being intentional with everything that you do. Like, we know that we have this divine purpose, this divine calling, and I love what you said, Marianne, as you were talking about as how you help your clients, and kind of some of the work that we do as well is just especially with being a strategist, is that you're keeping people focused, you're keeping them on target so that they can make an impact, right? And so if we want to be those who are influential and impactful in whatever it is that we do, we have to be intentional on how we focus and what it is that we focus on. Now that is that right there alone, intentional in what it is that we focus on. Do we hang on to the negative, or do we grab hold to the positive, right, and allow it to navigate us through whatever Miss Barbara, she always talk about the storms, right? The storms, and let it navigate us through the storms, and grab hold on to our strengths, right? Your strengths will take you through the storm. You have what it takes, right, to get from your current destination, your current location, to the destination, that the higher destination that you are being called to, right? And so it's about we heard Miss Debra, she talked about coaches, right? Like, those are very, very important. I think Marianne, you're a coach. I think all of us coach All of us here are some coach, consultant, right? In some form of matter. And so because we're not an island, right? And I just believe that intentionally, God didn't give all of any of us everything, right? He gave each of us a portion. He gave each of us a portion. And with that portion that he's given each of us, right, that is how we show up in our brilliance every single day. But also with that portion that we hold, right, we need, listen, that portion that we hold, because there's other aspects in life, we need each other, right? We need the collective. We need the collective to make a whole. and so and so you want to be able to have that collective group, that collective group of coaches, mentors, right? Intentional friends to help you get to that destination, that you've been called to do. And listen, I think Miss Deborah talked about it earlier as well. I mean, you can do the Lone Ranger route and it'll take you longer to get there, right? Or you can get some coaches, get some coaches or consultants, whatever it is that you need on your team. You got to know what's good for your team, right? You got to know what's needed for that. And once you can understand what's needed for your team and you take hold and you grab, you get those team players, right, that's meant for you, they'll help you get to that destination a whole lot quicker than you're struggling. Because there's so many people out here struggling in various aspects, of their lives. One only thing you have to do is just grab a coach, right? Grab a coach. There are so many coaches out here. And let me just say this: don't just grab any coach. Don't just grab any coach. That's vitally important, because I do come across a lot of people in and what it is that I do who just grab coaches, but because you wasn't intentional or wasn't sure of the type of coach you needed, you just grabbed a coach. And so you got to know what kind you need, because that is the only way you're going to be effective in getting where it is that you need to go. Okay, back over to you, Miss LaWanna.
Exactly. I love everything that you all have shared. I can't believe we're already out of time. I'm going to do a quick round robin for any lasting words that you want to share with the women that are currently watching, those that are watching the replay. We are currently airing live on E360 TV. So hello to our TV audience, as well as on Facebook. And I'll turn it over to you, Mary Ellen, to just give a few very brief words.
Well, I want everyone to understand that the good you have inside yourself is the good that you see in other people. So when you see good in someone else, take that and bless it in yourself and say, God, thank you for showing me this. And the other side of that is the things in other people that really irritate you or hook you are God's way of showing you what you need to work on in yourself. So instead of blaming them, instead of pointing the finger at them, always step back and say, what do I need to learn from this? What am I seeing that I've been through before? What do I need to learn? Yes, they might be doing something incorrect. That's fine. And why is it hooking you? Why is it bothering you? Because that's why I have a peacock on the front of this book, because peacocks get their beautiful feathers by eating thorns. And the harder the thorn is to digest, the more beautiful the color in the tail. And it is the same way with people. As we go through our life trials and tribulations, and we learn from them, we become the beautiful, peaceful children of God that we're meant to be. Because human beings are put here to bring love, not to take love.
Amen.
Thank you so much for that. Barbara, I'm going to turn it over to you for a few quick words.
I'll make them just very quick. I know Mary Ellen mentioned the fact that, she makes sure she's celebrating others, but I just want everybody to know, remind each other, celebrate each other, because it's so important. Tell Mary Ellen or tell Derashay, tell your friend LaWanna, whoever's out there, celebrate each other. It's really important, because sometimes we forget ourselves because we're just doing so much. It's nice to say, you know what, LaWanna, Mary Ellen, Derashay, you are awesome. You're queens.
Derashay?
I just want to say, listen, I just want to encourage somebody to let you know that you can do all things. There's absolutely nothing that you envision. There's not one dream or vision that has come upon you that you cannot do. I want you to believe in yourself, trust in the gifts, the talent that has been placed on the inside of you, and allow absolutely nothing to hinder you. Don't worry about your past. Don't allow your history to get in the way of your future. Do not allow it to block your present, right? Because the great thing about what's on the inside of you is the gift that the world is looking for. Not only that it's looking for, it's the gift that the world absolutely needs. And inside of that gift, what I love about what's inside of the gift, that not only will it impact nations and impact the world, but it will also be the very thing that that will bring forth the supply of what it is that you're looking for, even within yourself as well. So just remember, you can do it, right? As you can perceive it and believe it, it shall be done.
Amen, amen. Thank you so much. And to our listening audience, thank you for joining us for another episode of Business and Financial Raw Talk, a no holds barred forum for leaders and innovators, where this time we were taking a special pause to celebrate 12 amazing women who are making a difference and an impact around the world. We're also celebrating women around the world as we come together during this Women's History Month, reminding ourselves to hashtag stop the bias or break the bias. And I want to remind you that in life, remember, when your vision aligns with opportunity, success is inevitable. Until next time, be blessed, and we look forward to seeing you all on April 3rd, where we will crown the next Celebrate You Woman of the Year.